Hey everyone, and welcome back to Swift Guitar Lessons. Today I'm sharing with you another Dave Van Ronk classic. This is Green Green Rocky Road off the Inside Llewyn Davis soundtrack. Let's get started. 1, 2, 3, 4. Part number 1 slow. Okay, we have a closer look at the guitar and also my right hand. The first thing I want to mention is that we have a capo here on the 4th fret. Also, my low E string is tuned down one whole step to drop D tuning, though I'm still going to refer to it as my E string throughout this lesson. Okay, so we're going to start off learning the verse, and it's going to sound like this. Breaking that up into different sections, here's section number 1 of the verse. One more time. And once very slow. Okay, so that was just my low E string and my 2nd fret G, the open B string, my D string, my 3rd fret of the B string, open E, open B, and the D string. Okay, moving on to the next part of the verse, it's gonna sound like this. In context with the first part, okay, so that was just the open low E string with the 3rd fret of the B. Then once, just without the low E string, we're just doing that 3rd fret of the B, so that's open D string, high E string, 2nd fret, and then the bass line. Open E string, open D string. Now notice how my thumb is handling both of those bass notes. Okay, moving on to the next part, we're going to repeat section number 1. Then move on to this section here. That part at full speed will sound like this. Okay, so that was after repeating section number 1. We're just taking our 3rd finger and putting it here on the 5th fret relative to the capo on the E string, low E string, and my 1st finger is here on the 3rd fret relative to the capo on the B string. So then I have those two notes together, open E string, D string open, 3rd fret of the B string, which I'm going to go back to my D major kind of chord shape here, and then play the bass line. 5 and 3, open E, D string, B string, 3rd fret, back to my D shape, and then the bass line. Open E string, open D string. Alright, so far we have. At full speed. Okay, practice each of those sections over and over again, get them comfortable, and before you know it, you'll be able to move through the entire verse. Part number 2, the fill. The fill slow. Okay, so in between all the verses and choruses, we have this nice little fill. It sounds like this. One more time. Okay, so that was my low E string open, a D sus chord upstroke. That's my open E string, 3rd fret B, 2nd fret G. So far we have. Then my open D string. Then the middle finger is going to come down and make a regular D major chord shape. And I'm going to pluck that with the open E string. Remember that this string here, this low E string, is tuned down a whole step, so that's going to match that D major shape. Give it a real heavy bottom. So far we have. Next I'll play the open D string. That brings us to. Then we have the low E string by itself, upstroke on that D chord again, and D string. Alright, that whole part sounds like this. It's at that point that I'm going to start to slide up into my chorus like this. And I slide up into the chorus, which we'll get to in just a moment. Okay. Part number 3, the chorus. The chorus slow. Okay, moving on to the chorus, starting with that fill, it's going to sound like this. Okay, so at the very tail end of that fill, we're just sliding up to the 7th fret relative to the capo on the B string. And then my first finger is going to take the 5th fret of the high E string, and I'm going to pluck that together with the low E string open. Okay, so breaking the chorus up into the different sections, section 1 will sound like this. Okay, so that was the B string, 7th fret, and the first finger on the 5th fret together with the low E string. Open D string. The high notes here, the treble notes on the 7 and 5. The low E string. Then back to the treble notes. And then back to the D string. One more time, real slow. Okay, next, I'm taking my thumb, wrapping it over the 5th fret relative to the capo on the low E string, and I'm going to create a kind of like an F major shape that we're used to, but we're going to put that here. First finger is barring the 3rd fret of the B and high E string. Middle finger is here on the 4th fret of the G string. That's really all we need, but we're going to take our 3rd finger and put it here on the 5th fret of the D string as well. So we have the wrap and that major triad. And there I'm just going to take the thumb, wrap it over, and then I kind of did an upstroke there with the 1st and middle finger on the triad. So we have root. Sometimes Dave will hit kind of 2 there. 2 strokes. Then the open D string. And then to the D major chord with the low E string. Alright, so far that chorus sounds like this. Alright, and then I just threw in a little bit of that fill. I kind of shortened the fill that we've been throwing in to just being before moving on to the next section. It will sound like this. Alright, so this next section of the chorus sounds like this. My first finger and middle finger are taking the 2nd fret of G and high E string and sliding up to the 5th fret. If I get a little of my D string and my B string in there as well, that's a good thing. Next, I'm going to take my third finger, put it on the 5th fret of the low E string, and my first finger is coming down to the high E string, 3rd fret. It's kind of like that kind of interesting G major shape we made before. Open D string. So far we have the slide, an upstroke here now on the treble strings, and that might be my high E string, my B string, and my G string. So far we have again. Then the D string, open, and back to the D major chord with the low E string. And then I'm just going to go back into the fill before going into the next part, our bridge section. Tell me who you love, tell me who you love. All right. Bridge slow. Alright, so this section is a little bit different than the rest of the tune because it's going to start off here on the higher of the 2 bass notes, our open D string. That's going to be played simultaneously with the G string 2nd fret. Next we have the B string open, but I'm going to hammer down onto the 3rd fret as I pluck the low E string. So far we have. Alright, up next you saw we have the high E string open. Then the D string open. Tell me who you. Alright, this section again. Next we're going to play the high E string 2nd fret and then the low E string. Next we're going to repeat the first little section of that line again. Alright, that was the open D string and the B string open. Before going to this shape again, we have this kind of G6 shape. My 3rd finger here on the low E string, 5th fret, and my 1st finger here on the B string, 3rd fret. Play those 2 notes together. The open E string, and then the D string open, and then we're back to our D major shape. And I might play that together with the low E string, or I might stagger them like I did in the verse. Alright everyone, thanks so much for checking out this lesson. I hope you enjoyed my take on Green Green Rocky Road. I got plenty more lessons coming up, so keep checking back and please subscribe. I'm Rob at Swift Guitar Lessons in Philadelphia, saying happy picking.